Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys so much for being our guinea pigs today. We are testing this format out here. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. And I'm joined by one of my great friends here, Javi Prellezo. You can find him on Twitter at jprellezo DFS. And he is the goat of all things: football, basketball, hockey, soccer, golf. Maybe not soccer. Maybe I'm being too generous there. League of Legends, CSGO, just about every sport you can find, he's an expert on. And he's agreed to come on here for the next 45 to 50 minutes, answer some of our questions, hang out with us. We're going to talk a little bit about his background and kind of what he's done in the industry, how he came into the industry, and how he's become such a successful DFS player. And then we're going to spend about 20, 25 minutes talking about tonight's Thursday night football game. You're not going to miss that. Feel free to reach out to us in the chat on Twitter, on Periscope, on YouTube with any questions you may have. But Javi, how is your Thursday night going?
It's going. It's not night for me yet, though, Rob. It's still
West Coasters.
Afternoon-ish.
Yeah,
afternoon for me. But it's going great, Rob. I'm trying to get myself a PlayStation 5. That's my focus for today. All right. So, besides DFS, of course.
Really quick. All right. So let's delve into this PlayStation 5 thing, because I'm a PlayStation guy. I'm not an Xbox guy. I'm a PlayStation guy. So I'm with you. But getting the PlayStation 5 seems like half of the dilemma, right? The other half is like, what game are you going to get on the PlayStation 5 at launch that's actually going to be worth playing, that you're excited about?
I mean, this is a great question, Rob. I hope this is part of the interview, and I don't think we planned this out, but it's got to be Call of Duty, man. That's the game to play. The new Call of Duty just released today also, if you pre-ordered it. So for me, it's Call of Duty, and then I'm going to give a sleeper pick, because I love to give sleeper picks in life and DFS, and that's Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I'm a big Spider-Man. In case you guys don't know this about me, I'm a big Marvel nerd. I love Marvel. I love the superhero crap. I love all that crap. So I'm obsessed with Marvel for the most part.
So have you played the does that mean you've played the Avengers game?
I have not played the Avengers game, actually. So as much of a Marvel nut as I am, it's weird. I don't play the games as much. I really stick to just a few games: the Call of Duties, the sports games, and some party games. You know, like if you haven't played it, if you have like a game night at your house and you have a PlayStation, download a game called Knowledge is Power. We just had like two couples come over our place, and we played this game, and you play through an app on your phone, and you see the questions on your TV. It's fun. It's on PlayStation. So Knowledge is Power.
Kind of like Jackbox, but probably a little bit more brainy, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it asks all kinds of questions. You can select the year you're on. Of course, a couple were with. So I'm 32, but all our friends are older. They're 40s and whatnot. Yeah, sorry, sorry, Grandpa Rob.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
No, but they wanted to choose the 1980s as their category, and my fiance and I are like, no, let's do 2000s, 2010s. And we got outnumbered 4-2 every time.
Dude,
so
the 80s is the glorious decade. A lot of good movies, a lot of good music. So I'm impressed that you were up on it enough to do there. So I want to switch gears here. Let's hop into this conversation here about the DFS side, because even though I know you well, I've gotten to know you well over the last few months, and we've worked together on a lot of things. We've been on streams together. I haven't heard how the great Javi Prellezo started. So I want to hear, like, from the beginning, how did you get into the DFS industry?
Yeah, so since I was about 19 years old, so ages ago, 13 years ago, right? I was a season-long nut. I didn't really get into the DFS world, quote unquote, until I pretty much moved to San Diego, which was about 3.5 years ago. So 3 years ago, I started playing. I did small head-to-heads. I played with some friends. I had a friend who invited me to it, and we just played here and there. I put in some tournaments, and I hit it was 5 figures. I hit for like 10 grand one day. This was 3 years ago. I was like, holy crap, this is great. But then I realized after going back into it that the big contest that I was winning, that I won 10 grand in, is not really positive ROI. So I started tinkering my strategy, focusing on these smaller tournaments. We preach all the time about contest selection. But then after that, I hit for 50K one time, baseball. And then last year I hit for 100K in basketball. So just going through the process and just focusing on the core plays, which I always write about must-haves. I guess that's coming a trend now all over FTN Daily. I did that for golf yesterday as well. We got the Masters going on live. So really what it boils down to, Rob, is I just was playing these big tournaments. I was seeing what the big dogs are doing, all the people that are consistently on top. And then I turned that strategy around into smaller contests, 50-man contests, 100-man contests. And then I realized, you know what? I actually have a niche in this, and I do very well in these contests. So let's do this. And then I just kept growing my bankroll, winning those small contests. And then I started doing higher entry contests, and that's how it started. I came from a family that came over from Cuba. My whole family came over from Cuba. We didn't have much to our name. It started from the ground up. My grandparents raised my parents to go through school. They only made it past high school. They raised me. I'm very educated. I not to toot my own horn, Rob, but I have a master's and whatnot. And again, I had to work hard to get where I am. And I did
was that a master's in whatnot or a master's and whatnot?
Master's and what? No, a master's in business administration. So I got my MBA.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And I was thinking about going the doctorate route, but I was like, you know what? I want to make money. So, I work full time. I do this full time. But something that is key is you got to organize your time. And that's what's made me successful, is having the time set apart. Even if I showed you my calendar, you think I'm a freak. I'm a very structured person. I find time, I set my day in advance every night beforehand, and I live by my calendar. And it's a good thing. I set some time to just relax. I set some time to sit in my massage chair, which I don't know if you can see in the back, but yeah. So here's a funny story, Rob. When I hit my 100K for MBA, before that, I was like, honey, I want a massage chair. This thing is cool. And she's like, no. I was like, how about if I win $100,000? She's like, okay, fine. If you win $100,000 and I get a portion of it, you can get your massage chair. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. What else is new? So I hit the MBA, $100,000. I woke her up at like midnight when it was finalized. And I was like, honey, we're getting a massage chair and we're going on vacation. So it was very exciting. There's nothing more than a feeling of winning six figures in a contest. My goal is to win was 9 figures. Hopefully I can get it with the Masters. A lot of times, people think they just see the $1 million, they see the $100,000, and they just aim for that. And that's not the right contest to do. You have to focus somewhere, build your bankroll through cash games, through smaller tournaments. And once you get to that point, once you get comfortable, once you consistently win, win those 100-man contests, win those 50-man contests. And once you consistently win, then up your ante, playing those bigger contests. And again, all it takes is one hit. And if you work hard, you have a schedule, you're structured, you take 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day to plan your process on what contest you're going to do and what your strategy is. That's the key. So organize yourself.
So you mentioned
that was my short answer, by the way.
No, it's a good answer. It's a really good answer. So you mentioned family. Does your family know? This is something I always love to ask poker players and daily fantasy sports. Does your family know that you play daily fantasy sports? And if so, what do they think about it? He had to take a drink for this question.
Next question. No, I'm just kidding. Fiance knows.
I know the fiance knows. Too.
Yeah, she's actually told me too. She's like, "Hey, listen, when we get married, you got to set a cap on there." I was like, "I already set a cap." She's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to review that cap." I'm like, "Oh, great, perfect." But no, my mom and dad know. Some family members knew, but I keep it hush hush. Like I said, I work full time also on the side. Doing sales, and I told my boss, and my team knows about it, and they always ask me for advice, and I don't mind helping. Again, for me, I love to help people, man. You may think I'm I don't know if I can say this, talking shit, but I'm not. When I say that, I feel good when someone hits for $50,000, $20,000 because of the advice I gave them, or even anybody's advice in here. And there's nothing better than a feeling to hear someone say, "Hey, Javi, thank you for this life-changing money. Hey, Javi, thanks for your help on this. Without you, I could." That feels better to me than myself winning. Of course, I love to win, and it's a great feeling too, because then I can have these different luxuries like a massage chair, and I could spoil my cat, Momo. Yeah, that's her name, Momo. when I can have these luxuries, then it feels good. It feels great. But nothing beats the feeling of when someone else does it because they listen to what you said and you help them get to that. It means a lot. So again, I'm not blowing smoke up anyone's ass. This is all true feeling and how I feel.
So I want to go back to the multiple sports here for a little bit because you mentioned, you started in season-long fantasy and then you got into daily fantasy sports. But season-long fantasy, there was maybe football, maybe there's like a handful of there's nowhere near the same amount of sports as there is in daily fantasy sports, and you've been successful in all of them. So what has it been? What has the process been? How is it that you've been able to come into sports that you maybe had some experience in or even no experience in, and you've been able to rise the way up to the top? I know you mentioned studying a little bit, but maybe go a little bit more in depth into what you've done in these specific sports that's allowed you to be successful in so many.
Yeah, so I did like a 14-day, and I did this with League of Legends too in March when there was no DFS to play. I did like a 14-day study. I would put one lineup in the big contest, and I would see what the winners would do on a consistent basis. Sometimes there was fluky wins, but really with any sport that I researched, including League of Legends, there was a consistent process and a consistent winning lineup. So that's what I did was I dove deep. I'm a old fashioned kind of guy. Besides drinking it, I like to write down notes. Like you should see my notebook. I actually have to get a new one. It's already full of DFS stuff. It's probably Javi's magic book, but it's just notes and scribble of what the strategy was for the winning lineups. And that's what I focused on. I saw what they did and I tried to incorporate that. They would win in contests with like 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people. And I would put that in 100-person, 200-person contest. And some of these contests, I would just sweep away everybody. Like when League of Legends first started, I was winning left and right with those higher entry dollar, low amount of people because I used the strategy of what the big GPP people were doing. There was like 10 of the 14 had a consistent strategy, and I just followed that strategy. And I still incorporate today. I give the keys to the castle, and when you research stuff, there's certain sports that are very different though. Like MMA and tennis are not my favorite because how I see that is a big parlay. That's tougher to hit. If everybody can hit a parlay, everybody would win thousands and thousands of dollars. And I wouldn't even be playing DFS. I'd be just sports betting on this. But MMA and tennis are different monsters than that. I mean, granted, you could lose one player can lose or something like that, and then you can still cash, but you're never going to take down unless you have everything right. League of Legends is similar, but that's not really a big parlay. It's only 2 teams that you're focusing on. In tennis, you have to pick 6 players that win to even have a shot at any money. So same thing with MMA. But yeah, like I said, put one entry into the big GPP. See what the winner does every night, 10 to 14 days. You have to have patience, and then have the time to study, man. Sit down, put it in your calendar, set an alarm, say, hey, this is what I'm going to do during this time. And that's it.
So you talked about how you've gotten into the DFS industry and been successful as a DFS player. How did you become to be a tout? Like what point did you get into the touting side of things, and what made you want to do that? Like walk through kind of like how that part of your career has come to be.
Yeah, so in case you guys didn't know, I came from Win Daily Sports. I have nothing but great things to say for them. Before it happened, I was doing nothing, man. I was a Roto Grinder sub member, right?
Mm-hmm.
I subbed to nobody else. They helped me with my MLB takedown. I have much respect for Roto Grinders. I sing their praises. They're a great company, they're about the only ones that I really trust in the DFS industry to consistently help you win and that care. And then, after playing for a little bit, I was in a little like DFS group I got invited to, like, hey, Javi, you want to join our DFS group? We have a call every Friday night to discuss football or basketball or whatever the case is. So I actually jumped in that, and they said, hey, have you ever thought about touting? I have a friend who's interested. And I was like, yeah, never really thought about it, but I'm all about helping people. I help friends, I help family. So I'm down. So I emailed Scott Engel. He was with Win Daily too, as the editor, but now he's with Rotoballer, and he wanted to see what experience I had. I told him, where I'm at. Here's some screenshots, yada yada yada. It was like a little interview process, And then I was in Win Daily, and I felt like a natural from the get go. Again, I don't mean to sound conceited, but it just felt right to help the people, and it just suited me better to be a tout. So after that, I stuck with Win Daily, and I just had a bigger vision, and that's when I talked to Kyle Murray, who reached out to me and Tenacious D Jones. David Jones worked with me. I always talk about how he's my longest standing friend. He is my longest standing DFS friend. It's only been 2 years, but I don't have many DFS friends before that. So, my vision, my bigger, broader vision brought me to FTN and got to meet great people like you there, DFS Rob. You're my hero.
Well, man, we need to get you a new hero. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now in this industry?
Oh man, I feel like an interview.
32,
Man.
listen, you're 32 now, Javi. You are beyond the age of 30. You got to start thinking about the rest of your life. You got to start. I mean, you're settling down. You're getting married. Like, it's time to kind of start thinking about these things. You can't just live in the moment anymore.
Yeah. So in the DFS, I'll tell you personal in DFS. I'm sure people want to see that I'm a human being and not a robot, right? So from a personal level, I want to get married, obviously. Love of my life. Her name's Shannon. I've been with her over 4 years now this year. And we were supposed to get married this past August, but because of everything going on, we pushed it out to next year. We want our family there to celebrate with us, and it just feels too risky. So we're getting married next August on our 5-year anniversary. And eventually we're going to have kids, There's no rush. She's still young. She just turned 28. Or she's about to turn 28 this year. She's old. I thought I was old. She reminds me I'm over 30 though. But no, in a few years we'll have kids, and I'm excited for that. But from a DFS standpoint, really where I want to see myself in the 9 figures. That's my goal from a DFS winning perspective. And then from there I can, settle down, help out more people. I still focus on the DFS game, but ultimately that's where I want to go. And for me, my vision takes me to, like I said, I see it with FTN is to help FTN. I can see myself here for 5 years and help FTN become the leader in the DFS world, the leader in the DFS. I think they're already a step there. We might be the leader right now in the DFS. And we've only been around for a few months. The vision's there. The partnerships are there. The affiliates are there. The people that we have, it's just a giant family, people like Derek Brown, yourself, Kevin Adams, everybody, the vision's there. So to be the number one DFS provider for anybody, and everybody, when they think DFS is to come to FTN. So I want to build that brand. And then for me, it's to win that $1 million. So that's the plan.
All right. Couple fun little over-unders for you here. All right. I'm going to give you a line. You give me the over-under. Over-under at 0.5. Will Javi ever show up on ESPN?
Oh my God. 0.5. I don't know. How do I get on ESPN? That's the question. I'm going to go in 5 years. Javi is going to show up at least over 0.5.
Okay.
I set the odds at plus 2,000 though.
Okay. Over under of 1.5. How many people on the Pat Mayo show are better than you at DFS?
Over under 1.5. Oh, over for sure.
Are better than you?
Yeah. I'm not the best. I'll admit it. There's still some deficiencies I have in some sports. So I think the best is somebody that consistently wins in every sport. I'm almost there, but there's a few other out there. I mean, bigger bankrolls and whatnot. I play moderately. I hand build all my lineups. I don't use optimizers. These guys just use optimizers and build lineups, and people come from, different trust funds and whatnot. And I don't come from a trust fund. Again, I started from the bottom, but again, I've worked hard to get where I am today.
Over under of 3 years on how long it takes you to win your first live final.
Under. I have the path there. I have NFL. I finished 11th for the FanDuel final last year. Baseball this year, I finished top. What was it, 6th or 7th? I think it was. So that was my best finishing yet. I for some reason I love the number 11. It was NFL, it was basketball, and there was another sport where I finished 11th in a final. But I broke that curse with baseball. So you know what, Rob, I'm gonna get there. I almost did it. I almost got through to the golf the final round, but came up just short. But I'll win a live final soon enough. If you think about it, these big dogs, these sharks that consistently win, they don't win it either. So, but I'm right on their tail. I'll be there under
Last
3 years,
one.
Rob.
Over or under 3.5 years to the next Padres World Series win?
Under 3.5, Rob. I'm calling it now after this offseason. Well, I think we get it in 2 years.
I like it. All right, we're going to switch gears here. We're going to talk about tonight's football game. Interesting game between the Colts and the Titans. And the first thing I want to ask you about this game is just, are any of these teams good? The Colts come in 5-3. The Titans come in 6-2. They don't have the superstars, maybe with the exception of like Derrick Henry on their teams. I mean, are these teams good? I have no idea.
It's a good question. I think that the Titans are good. I don't see the Titans struggled defensively. That's a problem. And Ryan Tannehill's finally come back down to earth. So I say the Colts, their defense has improved mightily. But when you have Phillip Rivers as your quarterback, you're not a good team. I'm sorry. He's the epic choke artist. So I don't see the Colts as a good team. They're still susceptible, mainly because of their offense. And they don't want to unleash Jonathan Taylor. Who knows why? But I don't think they are. I think the Titans are a solid team, though. Derrick Henry, Tannehill, solid. A.J. Brown. But that defense is struggling mightily this year. So,
yeah, so it's interesting you bring up Jonathan Taylor because, like, he's been touted, for like 5 weeks in a row now. Like, everybody, like, it started out like Jonathan Taylor's the obvious chalk play, and then it went to like, well, Jonathan Taylor's the cool contrarian play. And then it went to nobody's going to be on Jonathan Taylor this week. And now it's like, I mean, he's burned every bridge on the planet. And we head into a Thursday night game where literally nobody's going to want to be on Jonathan Taylor. But like you mentioned, that defense is really bad. Is this a night where maybe like it's time to get back on the train just because it's showdown and weird things happen?
I mean, weird things happen. You said it right there. I think this could be the night to get back on Jonathan Taylor. For me, I find it super risky. I don't know what the Colts are doing. You have a young stud in this kid, and you're not focusing on giving him the ball. I don't know what you're thinking. Giving Nyheim Hines, he's still young. Jordan Wilkins is too, but you drafted this guy for a reason. If you don't see anything, then just bench him. But they're basically playing with his heart in my eyes. I think he's an okay play today, but at his price today, he's a little much for me. He's the 5th highest priced running back today. I think that's a little risky, even against this defense, considering what's happening. I think it's tough to trust that play.
So the Colts right now are -1 favorites in this game. If it's not Taylor that gets to the end zone, who the hell do we target? Who the hell do we look at here? Because, like, it's not like you look at this team and you're like, well, here's the leverage play off of Taylor. It's blah, blah. I mean, we have a bunch of guys on this team that are just, they kind of give you a little, like, sick taste in your mouth, And on top of that, a lot of them you're counting on Phillip Rivers to deliver the ball to. So Vegas expects somebody to score in this game. Their implied total is 24.5 right now. So, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. That's a lot of fantasy goodness to go around on a team that doesn't have a lot of fantasy goodness. Like, where are we looking tonight if it's not Jonathan Taylor?
It's tough, Rob. I think Nyheim Hines is going to be the sneaky play. He seems to be the guy in the red zone and the third down back. He's a great pass catching running back. I think the sneaky play is to put Nyheim Hines in your lineup. I would even say, if you look at the last 2 showdowns, we had Brashard Perriman, and then before that was Richie James. You've had 2 nobodies really win in the captain spot, the big money. I think it's sneaky to go to Nyheim Hines at the captain spot. It's far from safe, obviously, but if you're trying to win the outright 500K or split the 500K, that's the route to go. So Nyheim Hines, sign me up.
Yeah, I think if you're playing in one of the really big fields, throwing Hines and Taylor in the same lineup probably is going to be a combination low percentage owned, right? Like between the two, like even if individually they're only 20% owned, you might only see them combined like a 0.5% owned in both lineups just because people aren't going to want to play them together. Over on the other side of the ball, we've got this pretty powerful story about Corey Davis. His brother passed away yesterday, and he's decided to play today. I want you to kind of answer this question twofold. First, kind of big picture, how do you feel about Narrative Street as a whole, and how much do you let Narrative Street influence your decision process? And then specifically in this situation tonight, how much of a Corey Davis believer are you tonight with the circumstances around that and how that plays out on the field?
I'm a big Corey Davis fan tonight. I believe in this Narrative Street. This is I don't know if it's his only brother or whatnot, but that's something that's very sad. If I'm very close to my family. If anything ever happened to somebody that close, I don't know how I would be out there tonight, if I was in Corey Davis's shoes. But he's going to be out there. He's going to be motivated. They're going to feed him the ball. It's going to be in honor of his brother. So I love Corey Davis a lot today, and I believe in this narrative especially. The narrative that I believe a little less in is like, oh, he hated this team, and now he's playing against the team that he hated before, That narrative is whatever. It's hit or miss, but the narrative king, though, is Tenacious D. Jones, not me per se. But today, I believe in Corey Davis.
Can you play Corey Davis and A.J. Brown in the same lineup tonight?
Yep, I think you can. Again, these Indianapolis Colts pass defense has been good. They went from one of the worst last year to one of the better ones. So it's risky. It comes with risk, but I'm willing to throw some shots in there. Again, I'm trying to win the outright $500K. I'm not trying to split with a bunch of people, Rob.
How do you feel about the kickers tonight? I've heard the kickers touted on a couple different places as I was researching this game. A lot of people are talking about kickers. And one of the things that frustrates me about kickers is it feels like it doesn't ever feel like there's a lot of research you can do about kickers. Like I was so relieved when like FanDuel finally dropped the kicker position from the daily fantasy site, because I mean, basically kicker research back in the day was like, are they playing in a dome? Is the wind blowing bad? Like, does the team struggle in the red zone? But in all reality, I mean, all teams kick field goals. It's just, there isn't that much differentiation. So like, how do you decide on kickers, and how do you feel about kickers tonight?
So with a name like Rodrigo Blankenship, you got to play that kicker, right? I mean, that's a badass name. No, for me, I think Phillip Rivers, he's usually on a team that kicks a lot of field goals because he chokes. But if you look at Blankenship, he had 4 straight games where he had over 10 fantasy points for 4 straight weeks. Lately he's kind of cooled down. He had 5 and 3 the last 2 weeks, and then before the bye he had 8. So it's not terrible floor for Blankenship. Especially against a bad Tennessee team, and me not believing in Phillip Rivers, I think there's going to be a lot of field goals. So I like Blankenship more than Gostowski, to be honest.
All right, last question, and then we'll get you out of here so you can get in line for that PS5, and then you can let me know how good it is and whether I need to get in line for one. All right, so you basically get offered $1 million if you can guess the over-under in this game and the spread. All right? Are you taking the over-under on 48.5, and are you taking the Colts -1 or the Tennessee Titans +1? Got to get both right for $1 million.
Taking the under on this game, and I'm taking the Titans.
Titans +1. Derrick Henry with a touchdown. Corey Brown with a touch, or Corey Davis with a touchdown. I guess since I said Brown, we'll throw the A.J. Brown touchdown in there too. 21, 12.
Yeah, all 3.
4 field
Why not?
goals,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm in. Naheem Hines with 10 catches. Let's go.
I like it. All right. Well, Javi, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck in your PlayStation 5 endeavors, and I'm sure we will be on here soon again to talk.
Thanks for having me, Rob. Take care.
All right, guys. We will see you later. Thanks again for checking us out. Be sure to check out all of the content over at FTN Network. That's ftndaily.com, ftnbets.com, ftnfantasy.com. They just dropped the new early bird pricing for the NBA packages. $180 for the season is ridiculous. I mean, I would have paid a lot more than that just to get to see Eddie and to get his takes on everything. And of course, Stefano and Kwisenberg and the whole team over there is really, really solid. Even Javi and David. Javi and David.
You're forgetting me.
Gonna get access to the must-haves and David's showdown articles and everything else. Really, really good stuff out there. But check all that out. And guys, we'll see you soon.